Hello, Nomad Sculpt, and this is a just for fun tutorial. Let's sculpt such a Mandalorian helmet. Okay, so something like this. This is a wireframe. Okay, let's start from scratch. So I start with a new scene, and here I choose a other mat cap, something like this. And I use a reference image in the background like this here. So you can download it somewhere in the internet. Okay, so the basic shapes here, here I watched the reference here. This is something like a sphere, and the whole helmet I think is yeah, a sphere and a cylinder. So we can use the sphere. No, it's okay. And we need a cylinder. So I turn the wireframe on. Okay, so this sphere I think I delete. So I add a new sphere, and it's nicer to control the poly count and the mesh. So with a sphere I use a subdivision more. So and with a cylinder, so I place it like this, I think. So let's change the divisions to make it a little bit smoother and use it like this. So I think we can validate these objects here on the top. Okay, so how to start? So I think with this mesh here, I use here the paint tool. I reduce the radius here, and I use a black material, so something like this. And I'm sketching here this shape here, something like this here. We have to trim out. So, and the next thing here is, I think these two objects are a little bit, sorry, not like this, a little bit stretched here. So something like this. And I start here to, yeah, I think it's a little bit more like this here. And I think I split the mesh here. So use hole filling and detail, I think it's okay. So I split this mesh, I think here. So let's see the solo view. And I remesh it. So that the back side is also okay. And the next thing I try to split this cut here. So I use the front view and I rotate it a little bit like this. And I use the trim option. And on the left side the polygon. So I start here with a so let's try this trim. Yeah, it could work. So yeah, let's try it. So I show the wireframe at the moment, and maybe let's try it with a move brush a little bit and a bigger radius. So move maybe this a little bit inside. Okay. So I use again the voxel remesh, and let's smooth the whole thing a little bit. And now here you can use the mirror and mirror it from right to left. So this is okay. So and the color we don't need anymore. So paint it, and this one also. So so I think the shading is okay. Okay. The next thing is, I think we need here, sorry, where are my tools? Here, this part here, I think it's a cylinder or something like this. So yeah. So let's try it with a cylinder. Add a cylinder. And we need a other top radius here. So something like this here. And here in the mesh is a sorry, which mesh? Yeah, this mesh is active. So there's a it's a little bit better. Okay, so back to the cylinder. Yeah, I think it could work. Yeah, it's up to the first trim here for this mesh that maybe we can adjust it a little bit more. Something like this here. Yeah. Okay. So I think we have to mirror it. And here's something wrong. I think we have to pull it a little bit out. So let's mirror it from the from the right to the left. So I think it's better. Okay, it looks okay. So here this mesh and the top mesh here, I think I connect this here. I try to voxel remesh it. Higher poly count. Symmetry is not on. So I think it's okay. Let's see the solo view. And yeah. Okay, the next thing is here. I think I connect this mesh also. So I use here the voxel remesh and and I select the cylinder and I try to voxel remesh. I go back to the cylinder, to this cylinder, and I change the divisions here and try a voxel remesh. So I think it looks nice. Okay. So what can we do next? I think I trim hole filling off and I trim this part here off. So let's see the solo view. Then we have such a open shape here, and I think I do the same with the top. So something like this. And so that we have such a mask here. Okay. So the next thing is this, I don't know the name, in German it's a visor or something. So let's split here the mesh. So where's the split tool? Hole filling off and polygon tool, and I think we need a split here like this here with the black nodes. Okay, let's try to split. Oh. There's here in the split settings this hole filling active and legacy is active, and okay, let's split it. Yeah, I think it works. So we can mirror it from left to right, and this mesh we can also mirror from left to right. So now we got this shape here. So here this shape we can bring it a little bit in the back. So when we use the gizmo, and I think in this direction, something like this. And now I use the mask here, solo view, mask it, and let's extract a shell. We need no smoothness. Edge loops is okay, and we are using the negative here, the negative inside here, that the extraction is in this direction. So not so much. So I think it's okay. I use a wireframe here, and I think I remesh it. So without keep sharp edges but a higher poly count. So remesh it. And now we use the round all tool here and smooth the edges 1-2 times. So let's try to decimate. So I think it looks nice here with this mesh. So I think we can paint it black. No roughness, paint all. So, and there's the other mesh here. This is the split. Yeah, we can hide it and keep it maybe for later. So I add here a group, and yeah, old meshes. So let's see this mesh here. So we have to open it. So I think I use trim with a rectangular tool. Here I trim the bottom part away, and another trim here, something like this. So let's see it in the solo view. Now this is our mesh, and it looks okay. So I mask this mesh, and the same settings I think is okay. So I extract the shell inside. So this is the old mesh, and put it in the old meshes folder here, and let's see what happened. It's okay. So the next thing here is here in this view, there's yeah, something like, I think it's a cylinder shape here, and let's test it. So I add a cylinder, and I rotate in the front and here in the side view, and I change, so it's a little bit above the visor or so, something like this here. Let's see the wireframe, and here it looks a little bit outside. And I use for this also a higher division to make it smooth. And yeah, it's okay. So I think I validate this object. And here in the symmetry here, you can change your plane. So we now use the blue orientation, activate on the left side the symmetry, and now we can stretch this whole thing here. And when we turn off the symmetry, we can move it again. So something like this here. So I go back to the cylinder and I change here the divisions, it's okay, but I change here also this divisions to 0. So when we see it here, it looks like this. I think it's better. So I validate this object and I use again the symmetry. Yeah, I think it's okay. So let's trim the bottom off. Sorry, I think I have to activate hole filling, so I need the complete thing here. Or let's do it without hole filling. Without hole filling, so okay, and trim it again somewhere here. Symmetry is off. Sorry. I made a mistake. So I think it looks okay. So the next thing I use the solo view and the wireframe, and I mask this part here with a cell mask. So and now I think I can use the gizmo. So we can make it a little bit like this and like this and place it here. Yeah, I think it's okay. with this topology, it's nice to yeah, separate the mask or something here. When we use here cell mask and here start in the center and I think we can here select May. I think I have to unmask this on this. Hey, don't want to undo. So something like this here. Let's try. I want to extract here the shell. Shell thickness here 0, extracted. And let's see the solo view of this part. Yeah, this is nice. So we can use it again, and with a shell thickness here, we can mask it and extract a shell. So let's see here in the solo view. To create something here like this, and then it's possible to trim it off. So here, with this shape here, there's a hole here. We can use here the hole filling thing, and now it's possible to voxel remesh this whole thing with a high poly count, remesh it, and then use the round all brush 1-2 times, and use decimation here and decimate it down. So we get something like this here. And this mesh here, I think we give it a shell. So we use the mask, mask everything, also clear the mask and mask again. And a negative shell, try to extract it too much. Something like this here. And I use again voxel remesh, high poly count. I think it's okay. So again, round all brush, and here in the background I think there's the mask at the moment. So now decimate it down. Not voxel remesh, wireframe, solo. Okay, I think it's okay. Here I have to find the old mesh here. This one we can hide and bring it here in the old meshes here. This one is correct, and this is also a mask, I think, here, an old mesh. This is correct, this and this. So this has no shell thickness here. Let's try to mask it. And yeah, shell thickness, extract. So it looks okay. Voxel remesh. This is a mask. And here I smooth it. Okay, I think decimation is okay. There was here is a problem. Yeah, at the moment I don't care about this. So maybe let's trim it. Okay, trim. I think we use the line, but without snapping. So hole filling on. Sometimes such problem zones here could happen. So, but it's not a real problem. So I think here in solo view, yeah, it looks better, and mirror it again from left to right. So the mesh is now complete again. So yeah, it looks fine. For the helmet here, let's yeah, I try to voxel remesh it again. Higher resolution, and here so let's decimate it. Let's see how far we can go. Yeah, this is okay. I think it's okay. So the next thing here is we use this mesh here and clone it. This is a head mesh, and I think I trim it. Hole filling is active, and so trim like this. Okay, sorry, I go a step back, and I trim without hole filling. So, and I trim here this part away, and this one. And here when you press separate, you get two separate meshes now. So you can delete this one here. I think the inner mesh we can delete. the group node we can delete. And this mesh here, you see it here, this is the mesh around the head. Here we can use the mask and extract it in the positive direction. So let's test it. So it looks like this. And I think we can go a little bit lower, something like this here. Okay, I use solo view and the wireframe. So here I try to use multi-resolution with a linear subdivision and subdivide it one time, maybe a second time, and then turn off the linear subdivision and round the shape. So then it should work with a decimation here. Here, decimate it. Let's see the mesh here. There's a little problem here. I don't, yeah. Yeah, let's leave it. Something like this. Or let's go a step back with a subdivision. Yeah, it's okay. So the next thing here is I select the head here, solo view, and I think I clone this head. First I check all the meshes here. This one, this, and this one is the old one. I put it here. And now I select the head. And I clone the head. And I use trim. Hole filling is off. So we get here such a ring with two shapes we can separate. And the inner ring we don't need, delete, and the group node we can also delete. So, and this ring here, we can use it with a mask tool and give it a shell extraction, so extract. I use solo view and the wireframe. Let's try it with multi-resolution, linear subdivision. And yeah, and then I use voxel remesh. So with a round all tool, brush 2 times along and then decimate the whole thing. Yeah, I think it's okay. So yeah, it looks nearly like the complete head here. For some parts here, I use here the trim. Here we use hole filling, and I try it here. So I use polygon tool, and we need here a trim, something like this here, I think. and through all parts. So I lock here the view, and so this menu is pinned. So I trim first one, then this one I trim, and this one trim. Sorry, I have to go back a few steps, I think. And here, Boolean, let's try the Boolean trim. So trim, the next mesh, trim, next mesh, trim, this mesh, trim, and I think now all meshes are trimmed. But the edges are not clear here. So in this case here, when this happens here, I use the solo view and I remesh it again. So I use a high resolution here and remesh the whole thing and do the whole smoothing one time and the whole decimation again. So now the shading is better. So, but we have to do it for every mesh here. So here, something like this here, voxel remesh it around all brush, and now again decimate it down till it looks bad. So next mesh, this is okay, I think. This is an old mesh. This one have problems, so remesh. So okay, this one, I think it's okay. This one is okay, this one is okay. Not okay. So and the last one is okay. So yeah. And use global matcap. So for this one, not. And here I use other matcap here. Let's try such a this one. So let's turn on the post-processing. Oh, it looks nice. So yeah, that's the helmet. Have fun with sculpting. Ciao.